At this point, Jean Paul Gaultier La Belle range has an iconic status because of instantly recognizable curvy female torso-shaped bottles, and even though their shape doesn't resonate with me personally, I think they're a bit over the top. I have to admit, bottles are extremely eye-catching and they exude sensuality, so bottles kind of look naughty on the table and they became a symbol of seduction. The only one I don't have is Classique Eau de Parfum, which comes in red corset because I couldn't find it neither in stores, neither online in my country, although it's still available on Jean Paul Gaultier's official website. But I'll make an in-depth review of Classique Eau de Toilette and all other currently available La Belles. So which one will be the best for you? Which one is the most sensual and longest lasting fragrance? And what are the differences between them? Well, you will find out that and so much more in this in-depth review. So welcome back. I'm Miri and here we talk in depth about fragrances. Classique Eau de Toilette was first launched in 1993 and it was originally called Jean Paul Gaultier. I like that they changed the name into Classique because it's shorter, it's easier to remember, and since this juice is still produced, that says a lot about its quality. Powdery peachy color of corset on this bottle etched on transparent glass gives a very sensual look, while the ad emphasizes the idea of extremely alluring scent that can captivate and seduce sailors with a simple look or sniff. Jean Paul Gaultier described that this fragrance was inspired by the scent of theater, powdery smelling wigs, dusty costumes with a modern hint of a nail polish remover. And at the initial spray, you get precisely that. The scent starts with something slightly sharp and a bit screechy, similar to that scent of nail polish, but that short-lived sharpness dies down. It moves to the background, and now up front I can smell boozy pear mixed with licorice-like spices and some bits of sweet rose warming up the scent. Spices have this pungent, earthy, boozy aspects, so they give some maturity to the scent and retro touch to pear and rose. The opening smells like heavily spiced pear liqueur next to one rose flower. As the scent dries down, it becomes sweeter, fluffier, more floral and more powdery. It seems to me that other than rose and orange blossom, some other white florals were used, maybe some lily of the valley, but the most dominant white floral accord is orange blossom enveloped in a sweet powdery veil. Initial fruity aspects do still enrich the scent with prune-like sweetness and denseness that combined with ylang-ylang gives honey-like aroma in the air, while ginger adds a soft spiciness. In the far background, you can smell like a hint of nail polish remover, but it only adds to that makeup impression and you will notice it only if you focus on it. Basically, what you get in the heart is the scent of honeyed orange blossom and powdery iris with some light spices. It smells like the combination of orange blossoms and spiced prunes doused with honey and then dusted in makeup powder. Makeup-y vibe gets stronger in the base as vanilla and musk emerge and the scent eventually loses its rich, fruity, prune-like sweetness. Vanilla gives a lot of creaminess, amber gives warmth, while musk enhances powdery aspects. So this isn't a gourmand type of vanilla, but rather talc powder-like vanilla with a touch of spices and a hint of orange blossoms, which overall give old Hollywood glamour vibe. The scent of Classique Eau de Toilette in the base makes me think of feather hats, old lipsticks, and it makes me think of a Hollywood diva touching up her makeup with a powder puff. The scent truly takes you on a journey from the short blast of nail polish remover in the opening toward boozy spiced pear and then transforming into powdery honeyed orange blossom and finishing as slightly spicy but mostly powdery vanilla. It always smells peachy, just like the color of its juice and just like the color of its corset. And the best description for Classique Eau de Toilette is to say that this is the scent of Pin-up girls, and in that way, the scent matches its inspiration because it has some theatrical, dramatical, staged vibe. It has some retro old-fashioned feel, but a better term would be to say that it smells timeless or classic like its name suggests. This is a complex fragrance. It's ladylike with a touch of sensuality, and it would be best for colder weather and any occasion. Classique Eau de Toilette will appeal to those who love powdery and floral fragrances, and despite being Eau de Toilette concentration, it has more than decent performance. I got about 5 to 6 hours of longevity with motor projection, and then it gets softer on my skin. It's not a loud or room-filling fragrance, so it won't be offensive to others, but it still has presence, so others close to you will notice it. I really like it. Yeah, it's very beautiful. It's pin-up retro-like scent with a touch of nail polish remover, so I would rate it with 7.75 out of 10. In 2019, Jean Paul Gaultier launched La Belle Eau de Parfum inspired by the Garden of Eden. The female silhouette now is adorned only with a garland of rose golden flowers, representing ultimate temptation, evoking very cheeky and graphic illustration of a naked Eve wearing only a few flowers adorning her naked body in the Garden of Eden. But at the same time, the provocative bottle promises that this fragrance will give you a taste of paradise. In the ad, there's no mention of sailors or women wearing pin-up corsets like in the ad for Classique. With this perfume, Jean Paul Gaultier amplifies this exotic, seductive, and decadent images related to the Garden of Eden, while the aluminum can in which it comes as the outer package still works as a reminder of retro vintage beauty products. La Belle Eau de Parfum starts with the pear chord you get in the top notes of Classique as well, but pear in La Belle is really sweet. It's overripe. It's sugary, syrupy, sweet pear that can even be overwhelmingly, even cloyingly sweet. Thankfully, bergamot here gives like a touch of aquatic sourness, slight freshness, and a thin layer of greenness, making this pear just a tiny bit airier and lighter. The pear is initially slightly synthetic, very loud and syrupy, with some darker smoky earthiness lingering in the background. Therefore, this pear isn't a green, juicy one, but rather very yellowish, fully ripe pear bordering on being brown and dripping with all syrupy, succulent sweet juice, while having just a few drops of dew on its skin, refreshing its scent. This is a very seductive, juicy pear with some freshness and a touch of dangerous earthiness, so Adam and Eve wouldn't be able to resist it. They would have to bite into this succulent, juicy pear. As the scent dries down, vanilla and pear share the spotlight, while powdery florals, smoky, woody leatheriness, and rooty, earthy vetiver give a lot of depth and booziness to pear and vanilla, which are two most prominent notes. If not for smoky leather and earthy vetiver, this fragrance would be so syrupy, so caramelly, boozy sweet, you might feel like it has 1,000 calories, but those darker facets with a roasted feel balance the sweetness, giving it a touch of sex appeal, a bit of edginess, and dark, boozy contrast to those warm, deliciously succulent, fruity notes. So La Belle never smells too youthful or juvenile, despite being a very sweet perfume, while powdery florals give it a touch of feminine elegance. Imagine a scoop of rich vanilla ice cream slowly melting on top of a warm caramelized sweet pear tart with cinnamon laced filling fresh from the oven. The scent is a decadent blend of sugary caramelized pear, creamy vanilla, some powderiness, and a hint of smoky, spiced warmth coming from leather and vetiver, giving it depth and sexiness. The scent is simply delicious and a great choice both for daytime and nighttime and every season except for summer. When I first tested La Belle Eau de Parfum a few years back, I was a rookie starting on my fragrance journey and I liked pretty safe generic designer fragrances, so when I smelled this one, the scent was so sweet, so synthetic. It smelled to me like almost rotten pear, especially in the opening because of the amount of sweetness I initially got, and my nose wasn't prepared for it, so I couldn't understand all those influencers who praised La Belle Eau de Parfum so much. However, today when I smell it, my impression is completely different because in the meantime, I had the chance to smell many different perfumes, and now I really love La Belle Eau de Parfum. So I wouldn't say La Belle Eau de Parfum is a safe blind buy because of the amount of sweetness you get in it. And also vetiver and leather facets might not be everyone's favorite thing, but I think this is a fragrance everyone should test at least once in their lifetime. It has strong projection lasting more than 6 hours on my skin. So yeah, I really like it and I would rate it with 8 out of 10. But be prepared, it's very sweet, syrupy pear. La Belle Le Parfum was launched in 2021, but now in 2024 came out the new version in the new bottle. The old version had black upper part and reddish lower bottom, while this new 2024 version has ombre effect in reversed order. It has redder upper part of torso and black colored bottom, while the golden rose necklace looks a bit more simplistic. I have just the smallest 30 ml bottle, so that is the reason why mine doesn't come with a flower necklace. And there's a lot of talk about is this new version reformulated or just repackaged. I never owned full bottle of Le Parfum before, so even though I tested it several times in perfume stores, I can't recall all the details to truly give you in-depth comparison with this new version. What I can tell you by looking at the notes is that they switched base and middle notes and they took out jasmine accord, and judging by that, it seems like the juice was reformulated because notes are slightly different. I wish Jean Paul Gaultier would just come out and say, yeah, we changed the juice, or no, we just changed the packaging, because that would save us a lot of trouble of guessing what happened. However, how this new 2024 version smells? Well, at the initial spray, I got some tart, almost dark cherry-like accord that in a minute moves away to make space for this aquatic, slightly green pear that is very spiced, very honeyed and syrupy sweet at the same time. These fruity notes of pear and dark cherry are softened down with vanilla and some spices, maybe some cinnamon or nutmeg as well, so they don't smell like the scent of actual fruit, but rather processed and baked and almost a bit Christmassy because of sweet spices that were used here. The opening reminds me of the scent of spiced golden pear crumble with vanilla custard decorated with one cherry from cherry compote, giving some bite, tartness and freshness to the scent. Le Parfum doesn't radically change in the dry down, but dark cherry and pear become slightly more muted and toned down, while vanilla comes out more and more with some deep, dark, sultry, slight smokiness, leatheriness, and a touch of nuttiness in the background. Tonka bean gives those nutty, toasted, smoky facets, making this scent deeper, more interesting, softer, and also less sugary sweet. Le Parfum is a very rounded and balanced fragrance. There's nothing sharp or overbearing in it. Mostly what you get is a very cozy vanilla tonka combo with a hint of pear and a touch of smokiness, giving some cheekiness and edginess to the scent. The dry down smells like eating pear crumble with vanilla custard decorated with toasted almonds while drinking smoked and spiced mulled wine on a winter evening. Le Parfum has the same DNA as La Belle Eau de Parfum because in both you get spicy sweet pear with vanilla, but Le Parfum is less sugary, sticky sweet. It's more balanced with some dark cherry, giving slight tartness during the entire wear. And also it has interesting smokiness and a hint of roasted almonds in the background, warming up the scent. On the other side, La Belle Eau de Parfum has extremely syrupy, sugary, sweet, caramelized, boozy pear with some powdery feel from jasmine and other florals, while in the dry down it's more complex with leathery and earthy vetiver. The original is juicier while Le Parfum is denser and thicker. In my opinion, you don't need both. So if you like a sweeter, pear prominent scent that is more versatile, then check out La Belle Eau de Parfum. But if you would like a more balanced, sexier, colder months and evening-only perfume, then Le Parfum might be the one for you. Even though the original is a bit more synthetic, I think it's more interesting, it's more wearable, while the performance in both, even though you would expect Le Parfum would last longer, is pretty much the same. With Le Parfum, I also get 6 hours of longevity on my skin, while on clothes both last much longer. I really like Le Parfum. I think it's gorgeous, so I would rate it with 8.5 out of 10. And finally, La Belle Paradise Garden is a limited edition relaunch of L'Eau Terrible from 2022. To me, this is absolutely the prettiest bottle out of all 4. The blue colored glass is so eye-catching, and I love that they adorned the flaken with a gorgeous botanical, almost like hand-woven necklace. The bottle truly transports you to a blue lagoon somewhere in a tropical garden of Eden. It looks stunning, but does the scent match its gorgeous looking bottle? The initial spray is slightly synthetic, but it calms down in a few seconds and it gives a very cooling, watery, salty feel mixed with soft and some nondescript florals and also some tropical fruits. Even months after making the initial in-depth review, it's still hard for me to truly pinpoint what kind of fruits were used in this fragrance in the opening. Most people say they get some banana, but to me fruitiness here smells more like watermelon, combined with maybe ripe mango or papaya. So the image I got from smelling top notes is that of drinking a fruity tropical drink surrounded by beautiful flowers on a sunny day in a lagoon where salty waves roll in. The opening was very fresh, aquatic and floral with some fruits and also salty marine note, but it changes after 10 minutes with iris, other florals and vanilla becoming more prominent, even though salty and aquatic notes still remain noticeable during the entire wear. Iris is very powdery, it's slightly sweet, but also iris has this like earthy quality grounding the scent in the background and giving it some depth. So imagine you were trying to fix your makeup with a powder puff, but powder fell off and spread all over delicate flowers growing around the lagoon. So up front you can smell powdery flowers with the scent of their humid earthy texture in the distance. And in the base, Paradise Garden becomes more vanillic, creamier and sweeter with tiny traces of almonds and coconut, even though they aren't listed in the notes. The base is the best part of this fragrance for me because salty marine notes become less noticeable and florals, even though they are still powdery, now they are enveloped with the creamiest coconutty, almondy vanilla as well. So Paradise Garden finishes as the scent of powdery flower petals in a delicious vanilla cream. This is the spring and summer perfume. It's very versatile and it has a watery, fruity opening, powdery floral heart and creamy vanillic base, so it perfectly matches botanical necklace in the blue colored flaken. It doesn't remind me of any other labels that had very dominant syrupy pear and richer, darker facets. In Paradise Garden, you don't get any pear, certainly not a very heavy syrupy one, and the scent revolves around breezy, watery, powdery iris and vanilla without ever smelling edible or gourmand. Vanilla here just gives a very creamy texture and some softness to the scent. I get 5, like maybe 6 hours of wear, but the scent projects only for the first 2 hours and then it sits very close to the skin. So in my experience, it has the poorest performance out of all 4. But if you like more subtle, inoffensive, office-safe perfumes, then yes, I think this one will suit you. I like it much more in the dry down, but this isn't a love or very strong like for me because I struggle with most marine salty notes and fragrances, especially because those salty seaside notes get very pronounced on my skin. So I don't think this will be a safe blind buy if you dislike salty and watery perfumes, but if you like aquatic fragrances and if you found other labels too heavy for you, then yes, Paradise Garden might be the one you will love the most, so check it out while it's still available. And that's why, even though this is completely unpopular opinion, I would rate its scent and performance with 6.5 out of 10. If these in-depth reviews were descriptive and helpful so far, then boop the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so this video could spread to more people. Each fragrance in this video was very different apart from La Belle Eau de Parfum and Le Parfum, which are the most similar, about 80% the same, but they are all very feminine and they match their sensual looking bottles with arch back and accentuated curves. Based on their scent profile and performance, here's a ranking and also a quick recap with a certain image describing a feeling I get while wearing these fragrances. On the 4th place with 6.5 out of 10 is Paradise Garden because it's the softest out of them all and because I don't like marine-like fragrances. Because of its aquatic qualities, Paradise Garden makes me feel like a water nymph bathing in a secluded lagoon. On the 3rd place with 7.75 out of 10 is Classique Eau de Toilette, a very rich scent with a retro ladylike charm that makes me feel like a pinup girl using a lot of hairspray with a beautifully done manicure. On the 2nd place with 8 out of 10 is La Belle Eau de Parfum that smells completely delicious. It makes me feel like Eve offering a fruity temptation to Adam in the Garden of Eden. And on the 1st place with 8.5 out of 10 is La Belle Le Parfum that transports me to a Christmas party and makes me feel like a sensual woman wearing a red velvet dress that gets everyone's attention. Each one of them is a recommendation worthy depending on the vibe and feel you want to get, but as always, test them on your skin because then you will truly get a feel for a particular perfume. I hope this was helpful and descriptive, and share your experiences and thoughts on these fragrances in the comments. Which one is your favorite and why? Which ones did you like at the initial spray? Which one was a complete fail? And which one did you start loving with time? I can't wait to read what you think and what your experience were like. And if you would like to watch another in-depth detailed review of another designer range, then check out this video next. I will see you there. Bye!